Excuse me, are you Adam Graham?
The very same. And this is my old-time radio snack wagon.
Welcome to the Old-Time Radio Snack Wagon, where we serve up a bite-sized portion of old-time radio. And now, here's your snack wagon host, Adam Graham.
We're going to have an old-time radio snack ready to serve you in a second, and it smells like apples. But I did want to encourage you to send feedback. We're going to be recording an Adam's Mailbag episode before our summer break. Please let me know what you've liked and what you might like to hear more of or less of in the seasons ahead as we make our plans for seasons 3 and 4. And you can do that by sending an email to adam@snackwagon.net. Now we've got a real treat, and I mean that literally. During the golden age of radio, radio wasn't just music, drama, comedy, or news. It was also a mass educational resource for all sorts of topics and remains that way to this day. And oftentimes the educational program came with a commercial sponsor. The most famous cooking show of them all during the golden age of radio was the Betty Crocker School of the Air. Betty Crocker was a fictional character created as an advertising stunt by the Washburn Flour Company. And Betty established her cooking show in 1924 in Minneapolis, and eventually it went national. It guided American women through the Depression and World War II. And thanks to that radio show, Betty Crocker became a lasting brand name that's still around 100 years later. However, Betty wasn't the only one. Out on the West Coast, established in 1931, was the Martha Meade Society, with recipes provided by Martha Meade, and she was boosted by the Sperry Flour Company of San Francisco, California. Unlike the Betty Crocker School of the Air, the Martha Meade Society was limited to 28 western cities, but it actually turned that into a strength, not only providing delicious recipes, but also serving up local flavor on the cities that the program aired in. Of course, tastes change over the time, as do the way we learn cooking. But let's take a listen to how they did it 90 years ago. Here is the 100th meeting of the Martha Meade Society from May 16th, 1933. Those of you interested in the recipe may want to have a pen, paper, or, since this is the 21st century, a note-taking app. Let's take a listen.
This is the 100th time the Martha Meade Society has come to order. The 100th time radio has brought us together to share our homemaking interests with our western neighbors. The tour that we're making of more than a score of western cities has brought us today to Wenatchee, Washington, and will give us a chance to hear a recipe for the dessert called Wenatchetts. And now, for the 100th time, we have the pleasure of hearing Martha Meade.
I wish this one morning I could see you as I talk to you. I look into this little wire screen over the microphone, and only my imagination pictures you. I know you're there, especially you who write to me, and who express your appreciation of these meetings by buying Sperry products. And I feel very close to you, even you who are many hundred miles away. But sometimes I wish I could talk with you instead of to you. This is one of the times. Every moment I've spent with you on the air during these 100 programs has been a pleasure. It's very thrilling while I'm planning and testing these recipes to know that when I bring them to you, you too are enthusiastic about making mealtime a diversion and a joy instead of just a routine. And I want to thank you, as I have before, for buying drifted snow flour and wheat hearts and Sperry pancake and waffle flour, and by so doing, making it possible for me to stay with you in these programs. And isn't it delightful that we can dedicate our 100th program to a city like Wenatchee, Washington? For any of you who have recently joined us, I might explain that we've been visiting around in the 28 cities where the Martha Meade Society is broadcast for the purpose of learning new ways to cook Western food products. Today finds us in Wenatchee, where there are exactly the sort of contented, home-loving people who inspire our work on these programs. There's certainly a real story to tell about Wenatchee. 4 wealth-producing valleys come together here, and the story of Wenatchee has the same characters and the same plot and the same happy ending as the story of these valleys. It's such a glorious country. Running through it are mountain ranges that stand out clear-cut in the sparkling northern atmosphere. The fertile soil in the valleys, the swift-running streams, cool blue lakes, and sunshine pouring its warmth over all the brilliant landscape. These were enough to induce many thousands of families to settle in north-central Washington. If the story had followed the usual plot, we'd have had just another pleasant little agricultural community with numerous small farms growing a diversity of fruits and vegetables. But the people in Washington took a lesson from the manufacturing business. They decided to cooperate and specialize. So now, just as one American city is known for making automobiles, north-central Washington has made itself the apple center of the world. These orchardists studied apple production so intensively that now their acres have an extremely high yield. The average is 500 bushels to the acre. And mind you, these are apples of only the most superlative quality. Here are grown for the delight of apple lovers everywhere the Wenatchee Delicious, the Winesap, Spitzenberg, Rome Beauty, Jonathan, and others. It's very interesting, by the way, to know that the Wenatchee district uses enough lumber every year in the apple boxes to build 5-room homes sufficient for a city of 20,000 people. We've often talked of apple dishes on these programs, and I think we must all be daughters of Eve, because the apple recipes I've given you have been so popular. But with all our interest in apples, we haven't begun to appreciate their possibilities as our Wenatchee members do. How many of us would have thought of incorporating apples into sour cream tarts? Well, without trying to answer that question, I know we'll all make the tarts regularly from now on. And by the way, don't you agree with me that a sour cream pie filling is really better baked into tarts than in a large pie? Like everything extremely rich, this filling is most enjoyable eaten in small quantities. Perhaps you've never made a sour cream pie filling, but you certainly know what it is. It's that deep yellow filling like custard, only smoother and fluffier. At present market prices, sour cream is an economical ingredient. And of course you know that sweet cream can be made sour by adding a tablespoon of vinegar to a pint of cream and leaving it in a warm place for a couple of hours. Today, we're giving you the sour cream recipe with a novel addition of applesauce. You can add raisins or chopped dates, too, if you like, though these tarts have a delicate, delectable quality that's lost with the addition of the stronger flavored fruits. For these individual pies, bake 6 shells on the backs of muffin tins, using the flaky pastry recipe I gave you for the prune lattice pie. Or just send me a card, and I'll mail you this recipe. When the shells are cool, have this filling ready. 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons drifted snow home perfected flour, 6 tablespoons sugar, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon pastry spice, or for pastry spice you can substitute cloves and allspice mixed half and half, 1 cup sour cream, and 1 cup unsweetened applesauce. Before I give you the mixing directions, I might suggest that you make a note of this. When cooking apples for applesauce, add 1/2 lemon for tartness. We thought in proving the recipe in this very kitchen that tartness was an improvement. And what I do, friends, is just to squeeze the lemon a little into the apples and then drop in the rind for extra flavor. Of course, it's removed when the applesauce is done. Now, separate eggs and beat the yolks until thick and lemon-colored. You doubtless know that egg yolks thicken considerably as they're beaten and change color to a lemon-yellow shade. Unless you do beat them to this stage, the sour cream filling won't have that desired consistency. Add sugar, mixed with flour, salt, and spices. Add sour cream and applesauce, and thoroughly blend entire mixture. Cook till thick, over boiling water, stirring constantly. Cool. Pour into individual pastry shells and cover with a nut meringue made by beating the egg whites stiff and adding gradually 4 tablespoons sugar and 2 tablespoons chopped walnuts. Bake in slow oven 300 degrees for 20 minutes. The world didn't make a path to Wenatchee's door, of course, just because apples were growing there. If they hadn't been better apples, more tender, crisp, and juicy, they wouldn't now be leaving Wenatchee at the rate of 23,000 carloads a year. And if drifted snow weren't a better flour, more dependable, finer textured, more carefully blended, it wouldn't be, as it is, the largest selling family flour in the West. You know yourself that housewives are essentially practical. Unless a product gives complete satisfaction, women will try another brand. And so, wanting a reliable flour, you are perfectly safe in using the flour which has been first choice of Western housewives for so many years. As I said, it's the quality of Wenatchee apples that wins them their wide distribution. With drifted snow home-perfected flour, it's a fact that the Sperry Flour Company buys only the healthiest crops of first-grade wheat and employs only the most skillful chemists to blend it. And finally, sends samples of every lot to housewives like yourself for their practical testing. No wonder Western cooks, who are particular cooks, prefer drifted snow. They know from experience it will give them better baking. This week, as a little celebration of our 100th program, I've had the Sperry Flour Company place in your grocers an extra recipe for you. You'll see the colored poster with an illustration of a chocolate and white marble cake, and I think you'll immediately want to bake it. Well, on the poster's a pad of the recipes. Won't you take one? They're for you because you're a member of our Martha Meade Society. The cake is perfectly delicious and naturally a universal favorite with the 2 flavors blending through it. It's very easy, too. It took me only 11 minutes to mix it up. On the recipe, found, as I said, at your grocer's. I've also told you how to make a delicate, fluffy icing for it. If your grocer hasn't the pad of recipes, or they should all be gone, I'll be glad to send you one, friend. Just write to me, Martha Meade, care of the Sperry Flour Company, San Francisco. And now, our 100th program is over. I hope you'll find my future efforts helpful to you.
Some of our most loyal members are in Walla Walla, Washington. On Thursday's program, they have a recipe for a delicious Sweetheart's veal loaf. You'll be ready, won't you, with pencil and paper to take it down. The Martha Meade Society is over for today. Good morning.
Make us happy. There are smiles that make us blue. There are smiles that drive away the teardrops as the sunbeams drive away the dew. There are smiles that have a tender meaning that the eyes of love alone can see. But the smiles that fill my heart with gladness are the smiles that you give to me.
Welcome back. That was a delightfully pleasant presentation. This one appealed to me, and I actually shared this episode with my mother, as her family is from the Wenatchee area. She shared that she remembered women who speak like what we heard on the program in real life. She also, with a couple substitutions, made the recipe in the radio episode and assured me it was delicious. If you try the recipe out, let me know how it works for you. It's time for me to close up the old snack wagon. But don't worry, we'll be back with another serving of old-time radio goodness before you know it. If you want to enjoy some of our longer-form podcasts, you can feast away at my website at greatdetectives.net. Your emails are also welcome at adam@snackwagon.net.
The Old Time Radio Snack Wagon comes to you from Boise, Idaho. Your host is Adam Graham. Sound production is by Rhines Media, LLC. You can listen to past episodes of the Old Time Radio Snack Wagon as well as connect on social media at our website at snackwagon.net. Email suggestions for episodes to adam@snackwagon.net. This has been the Old Time Radio Snack Wagon.
Until next time, goodbye.